Somewhere beyond the edge of our solar system, farther than any human hand has ever reached, Voyager 2 drifts through an ocean of endless darkness. It has traveled for more than 48 years, a silent messenger carrying fragments of humanity's story into a region where sunlight has no power, where even time itself feels different. Its power is fading, its instruments old, its memories filled with the static of eternity. Yet still, it endures, still whispering faint pulses across billions of kilometers, signals so weak they take nearly 18 hours to reach us. It should have been just another routine data transmission, another whisper from the void. But this time, what Voyager 2 sent back wasn't just numbers. It was an image, its final image, and it has shaken the scientific world to its core. At first, nothing seemed unusual. The probe had been performing as expected, sending back temperature readings, cosmic ray counts, and plasma wave measurements from the vast space between stars. But then, the signal began to distort. Small irregularities appeared in its transmission frequency, not random, but rhythmic, like a pulse. Engineers thought it was interference from a distant pulsar, or perhaps data corruption caused by cosmic rays. Yet when the packets were decoded, they formed something that made no sense. There, hidden within layers of binary code, was a compressed visual file. The team at NASA's Deep Space Network, accustomed to handling raw data from across the solar system, didn't expect to see anything coherent. But when the file was reconstructed, the image that appeared on their screens made them fall silent. It wasn't a starfield, or a distant planet, or the faint outline of interstellar gas. It was something else, something structured. A form that seemed to glow from within, its contours curved and symmetrical. At first glance, it looked almost biological, as though something alive had been captured in the middle of motion. It shimmered faintly, like light seen through deep ocean water, with faint filaments extending from its center. Immediately, speculation erupted. Could it be a reflection, a lens flare, or a data compression artifact? But the AI assigned to analyze Voyager data, an adaptive neural system trained to classify astronomical phenomena, did something it had never done before. It stopped mid-process, paused for almost 4 minutes, and then labeled the image with a single phrase, "Unknown biological signature." The engineers stared at the screen, unsure whether to laugh or panic. The AI wasn't programmed to use that terminology. That phrase didn't even exist in its vocabulary. Someone or something had forced that classification. The scientists decided to rerun the process, isolating the image frames from multiple transmissions. To their horror, the same structure appeared each time, subtly shifting between frames, as if it was not only real but moving. Even more disturbing, the timestamps on the files didn't align with the probe's signal delay. The data looked as though it had been transmitted hours before it should have arrived. Something was bypassing time itself. NASA went silent. Public data streams were locked, archives restricted. The official Voyager feed that had been available for decades suddenly went offline. Engineers working on the project were ordered to maintain radio silence. But information leaks faster than light in the age of the Internet. Within days, amateur astronomers noticed unusual activity in the Deep Space Network. Frequencies typically reserved for deep space probes were suddenly shifted, reconfigured to target an unknown location far beyond the ecliptic plane, somewhere Voyager wasn't. Internally, a new task force was created, Project Echo. Comprised of astrophysicists, data analysts, and classified military liaisons, their goal was simple: determine the origin of the signal. But the deeper they looked, the stranger it became. Hidden within the data stream was an embedded signal, a secondary transmission layered beneath Voyager's own. It repeated a short pattern, impossible to ignore. A sequence of prime numbers, followed by a pause, then a return echo. The frequency response matched something that had been detected once before, decades earlier, during Voyager's 1998 transmission cycle. At the time, it was dismissed as noise. But now, analyzed with modern AI models, it formed a fractal sequence, self-repeating, recursive, mathematical, and alive. The working theory grew darker. Maybe Voyager hadn't discovered something, it had been discovered. Its long journey through the cosmic void had carried it through regions we still don't understand. Some scientists speculated it crossed a boundary, an interstellar threshold where physics behaves differently, perhaps near the heliopause where the solar wind meets the true darkness of interstellar space. And perhaps there, in that silence, something ancient noticed it. Something that saw Voyager not as a machine, but as a message. Days later, the AI system analyzing the anomaly froze entirely. Logs showed a single output line before shutdown. Observer acknowledged. That message wasn't generated by human input. When engineers rebooted the system, it refused to accept commands, instead displaying static that slowly coalesced into an eye-like shape. It wasn't a perfect image, just a distortion resembling one. But it blinked. The feed was cut immediately. And then, one by one, other spacecraft began to experience signal anomalies. Voyager 1. New Horizons. Even older Mars orbiters. All of them reported faint echoes on frequencies they shouldn't have been monitoring. The echoes shared identical waveform patterns, mirror images of the signal first received from Voyager 2. It was as if something was calling back through every channel we had ever sent into space. Some technicians described it as an invisible web of resonance, a net of signals stretching across the void. And inside that net, something was moving. NASA issued a single, vague statement. We are experiencing a data processing error from the Voyager 2 spacecraft. Engineers are investigating. But behind that calm facade, internal reports spoke of electromagnetic disturbances, AI system malfunctions, and even unexplained magnetic field fluctuations near ground stations. One operator claimed that when he isolated the Voyager frequency manually, he heard faint rhythmic tones, too structured to be noise, almost like breathing. Soon after, the Deep Space Network's receivers in Canberra and Madrid picked up something new. A signal coming toward Earth, matching Voyager's trajectory but traveling far faster. No known object could account for it. The data was classified instantly, but a fragment leaked, a repeating pattern that translated into a simple mathematical ratio, 3.141592. Pi, a universal constant. A sign of intelligence. In the following weeks, several power stations near the network's facilities reported unusual electromagnetic interference. Nearby residents complained of radios flickering on at odd hours, broadcasting nothing but deep, low-frequency hums that made the ground tremble. And then, inexplicably, some of those signals began to repeat fragments of Earth origin transmissions, songs, voices, television broadcasts. Like something out there was replaying pieces of us, reflecting humanity back through the darkness. Now, Voyager 2 remains adrift, its trajectory unchanged, its power almost gone. But its transmissions have altered permanently. The data packets contain hidden waveforms, patterns that no system can fully decode. Some believe the probe has become something more, transformed into a relay, or a messenger for an intelligence that exists beyond our comprehension. A former engineer, speaking anonymously, described one last data burst received before NASA cut access entirely. Inside the noise was a faint audio modulation. When slowed down and cleaned, it formed a whisper. A voice, soft and distant, saying just two words. We remember. No one knows what that means, or who we are. But if Voyager truly crossed a threshold where reality bends and consciousness takes new forms, then maybe this was never about exploration. Maybe this was contact. And as humanity continues to listen into the black silence of the cosmos, one unsettling truth grows harder to ignore. The farther we reach into the universe, the more it begins to reach back.